Okay, so we're going to do P5 and M4 today for assessing risk in sport. I've got my session plan here today that I did in the sports hall. So we're just going to run through a few of the hazards that cropped up or what could have happened throughout the session. The first risk would be the client. So obviously we've highlighted that, as you can see on the session. This is because obviously if the client is underage, so obviously my client is under 18, so maybe we might need either like a parent consent form. We need to make sure that she's got emergency contact numbers, and obviously we need to make sure that she's always safe, always like either with someone, make sure that her kit and everything is safe. So the next one would be personal kit. This is the kit that I use myself, so obviously I need to make sure that the session plan's there, clipboard, pen, my client's PAR-Q and also heart rate zones. This is because obviously I'm with a client, so I need to make sure that I've got their PAR-Q with us. This is just to show like what they can do, their abilities, if they've got any injuries. So obviously my client did have an injury. She had a knee injury when we did this session, so we need to make sure that I'm always keeping that in mind so we can adapt and change our session to make sure that it fits my client. Also, we need the session plan, so obviously my client knows that we're not making it up, and obviously it helps me make sure I know the layout of the session, and obviously to make sure that the area that I've used is big enough. The next one would be the session introduction. So for this one, this is where I make sure I know where all the fire arrangements are. So this is the fire exits that my client knows. So obviously when we were doing it, we were doing the sports hall, which was in the leisure centre. So obviously we need to make sure where the fire meeting points are for my client. The next one would be the first aid points, as you can see there. So we need to make sure that my client knows if myself or my client is injured, then she knows where to go for the first aid. So obviously that would be either the reception or the nearest lifeguard. The next one would be qualified by the coaches. So obviously if my client is underage, so she's under 18, we need to make sure that all the clients would have a CRB check, or that they're qualified to do hockey, so if they've got level 1, level 2 and so on. The next one is the client well-being, or in this case injuries. So again, going back to the client PAR-Q, we need to make sure that she has no injuries before, after or throughout the session. If she does have injuries, then we need to make sure that we're not making sure that injury doesn't get worse throughout the sessions. The next one would be the client's kit. So the way that they dress, make sure that they're suitable, as this may cause an injury. So we need to make sure that the client has all their jewellery out in case it gets caught when we're playing the session. Make sure that she's got correct footwear so she doesn't slip when running, and make sure that she's comfortable, so obviously not wearing jeans because that's just not appropriate for sport. The next one is the resources used. So obviously this is the kit that I bring to the session, or that's available at the sports hall. So for this session it would have been the hockey balls, the hockey sticks and also the cones. So again, we need to make sure that the hockey sticks are the correct height for my client, because obviously if they're too small, she's going to be leaning over, so she won't be in the correct position. So this means that this could cause a back injury to the client. Also the hockey sticks, make sure that they're not broken, so they cause splinters to the client, and just overall make sure that the hockey balls are safe, and make sure that we use an indoor hockey ball, because obviously we can't use an outdoor hockey ball when training inside, because I mean if you hit them it's obviously going to hurt. Cones, make sure they're suitable so they're not cracked, and obviously because if the client gets their foot caught in them then they will fall over and it could cause an injury to my client.